From chapter 53, you write, "Spirits in progress, among other things, must study and inspect their near and far past lives, or strongest or most difficult karmatic patterns, in order to wisely consider, know, and act in accord with the guidance, upliftment, progression, enlightenment, and liberation which each practitioner or unfolding spirit soul seeks." My question is, how is studying one's past lives in this way different from dwelling on or getting caught up in reliving the past?
Well, we're talking primarily about an attitude of progression which has a very distinct, positive flavor to it. You can see your past by knowing your ancestry. Right? You have to see your family, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and you must know the family history so you can see where you begin and end relative to that particular body of influences, karmic conditions, tendencies, programs, drives, successes and failures. You want to be able to see it. Some lines have alcoholism to get beyond. Some have other problems to get beyond. Other kinds of addictions to get beyond. Other kinds of neuroses to get beyond. So you know right there, right on the spot, that you have things you need to get beyond and not be a duplication of or an extension of directly. You want to be able to seize for yourself a higher degree of healing and a higher degree of ability to be able to break free of the darkness of the past in your ancestral line or your family karma and be a better version of the family tree. And you can rest assured that you have ancestors who have excelled, who have gone beyond, let's say, the norm, who have had very, let's say, positive ideas and feelings and maybe accomplishments, and that you are not alone in your efforts to be the best you can be. Right? Even though you may not know such influences, but we as spirits can call upon these influences, the good ancestors, the good spirits to come and help us. See, even if we don't know who they are, we say we want the good family spirits to help us in our time of need. So you have to ask. You have to feel connected and ask, and maybe you will see and find out the truth of what that is for yourself. It could come in some obvious form, it could come in dreams, it could come in other subtler means for the individual. See? But we have to pay attention. The idea is to listen carefully and pay attention. Not just social attention, but we need to have a certain kind of psychic attention, inner sensitivity to, let's say, influences that speak to us, that move us, that suggest to us, nudge us in a certain positive direction, so we step forward and up, always stepping forward and up, see? Improving and feeling better, healthier, doing the right thing, see? Moving towards the light and encouraging ourselves to do that, be that, and others as well.
From chapter 53, you write, "Negative or self-limiting ego consciousness is the psychic fall, contraction, or denial of any conscious being." My question is it in some individuals' blood to be more negative and self-limiting in comparison to others? And if so, do you have any advice for those individuals that might help them to overcome or break through?
Recognize the negative for what it is. Already know that whatever bad feelings you have, they may already be in the blood. They may be inherited. So if you're angry, if you suffer from bouts of anger and depression, it may not be your own. You may have inherited that from ancestors, which means it's not your own, it's for you to throw off. But it's passed down to you. It could be something very subtle and something very obvious. Something very physical, something very emotional, or something very mental. That goes down the line. And the more you find out about your history, sometimes the more you see yourself in it, and the more you see yourself in others in the past. So we need to see these things, recognize what it is, recognize limitations and negative tendencies, and disown them. Say, hey, that's not me. This belongs to my ancestors. I don't need it. I need to be free of that. I need to step away from that. I need to bring some light to this situation. Because if I follow that, I'm going to be bound to it. I'm going to be in darkness. I'm going to extend the darkness into my generation, into my children. I need to break the cycle with the past and the darkness of the past and step up to move forward and move up as an individual and bring my people up with me as part of the progressive, let's say, dimension of the family, of blood and relations.
What about culturing? Is this negative consciousness that you're referring to, can it be more prevalent amongst certain cultures?
It could be, but we're not talking about cultures per se. We're talking about individuals within these cultures that feel either controlled by the negativity or inspired by the negativity to do something good. So then it's up to the individual to make the difference in their own case and in the case of those who might be called their loved ones that they feel responsible to. They could be friends or relatives in the blood. So it's up to the individual to awaken to its own ability to contribute something positive to the world, not just to themselves or their immediate family, but to the world. So we're talking about inspiration that has to come from within because of the darkness that prevails without.
From chapter 54 you write, Isness as God is neither him nor her. God is absolute divine, total awareness of itself is. My question is, what about the yin and yang, or male and female energies? Are you saying that God is both, neither, or beyond these energies altogether?
All of it. Right? It is all of it. It is nature and transcendent of nature that is the source of nature. It's the visible, cosmic universe. In other words, whatever the God power is, or the essence of what it is, the heart essence of it, it's all pervasive. And it knows itself as itself. It's not so much the God, but as the heart, conscious of itself as the heart. And that's the truth in each and every one of us. We know we are the heart. We know we are ourselves. We know we are what it is. And there's no doubt about it. We may not have the words for it beyond the point, but we know that we are. We know that we is, and we're being. See? We know that we are aware of ourselves, and that's the God fact. It's self-aware. The universe is also that. It's self-aware. It's aware of itself. We're the proof of it. Each of us as individuals are responsible for our own awareness, which is part of the universal awareness, which is part of the divine awareness, or which is part of the, say, transcendent, or God awareness itself. Say, God gone beyond, God gone mad, and yet because that is what it is, it's in every particle. See, it's the reality of is. See? And everything that is part of it. And we are part of that. We are the everything that is. We are, let's say, Jupiter, we are the planets. As we can think, we are connected with that reality. And we are this galaxy and the next galaxy and the universe as a total. So in that 1 second, we can be the total. Because without the total, we couldn't exist at all. So we and the total are one, united. Coexisting and co-emerging at the same time.
From chapter 54, you write...
And the highest form of that, I would add, is love itself. See? So then it's God is love. Love of itself. And that it's going back to the heart is the universe is the heart. The heart loves itself. So it loves all beings. And by nature, it is pure compassion.
From chapter 54, you write, Since consciousness itself embraces all of infinite space, mind may imagine or conceive of freedom as mind itself is conceived of the free and pure. Thus, pure spirit soul of itself enjoys its own freedom and purity. my question is, so is the mind both an obstruction to freedom and yet at the same time a key to spiritual freedom?
It's both. It's form and formlessness. It's the is and the is not. And aware of itself as the is and the is not. And neither the is and the is not. Because self as mind, self-mind, or true mind, or true self, is aware of itself as everything and nothing simultaneously. And that's related to the fact of the conscious as an extension of the unconscious or subconscious or the preconscious, whatever one wants to call it, and the superconscious, which is an extension of the conscious and the unconsciousness. The radiant consciousness, the higher spiritual consciousness, the radiant body of light that every being is connected to. It's one and the same thing. We have to see that paradox and enjoy and open to that paradox as its reality. And who, it's not that we are, but who it is. Who it is. That's reality itself. The is reality. Beyond form, beyond time, space, energy, matter, and mind altogether. Phew.
I have one final question. From chapter 55, you write, individually created karma determines the quality of separation relative to the progress of any spirit soul undergoing the release and purification of the attachment to the earth body. However, not all passing spirit souls release the body at death, as many who have incarnated to suffer the body's pain and illusory yet sacred function often remain for an indefinite time attached, though disincarnated. My question is, what happens to such spirit souls when they remain attached to the body after physical death?
Well, they remain attached not only to, there is no body, so they're not attached to the body, because you're without a body after physical death, so you're not attached to it. So, as such, you're in an astral body, you're a ghost being, so there's no physical body. Now there may be memory, there may be some mental apparatus programming, that could sustain you to a certain degree in the astral world until that wears out or until someone or something interferes with your programming. And either causes you to be dissolved to a lesser state or bangs you into another state and causes you to materialize in some form or other. Still as a ghost, perhaps. So all of this is determined by the field of your karma. You can meet a higher and a good spirit in that condition and be given some light and some direction at that point. You could be subject to prayers and be sent on to a higher plane of consciousness as well. Or you can be banged into a lower state of consciousness beyond your comprehension of a spirit state, and be left in fear, subordinated to or enslaved to a higher, let's say darker spirit, more powerful darker spirit. So people need to be aware of the fact that there are dark elements, and that there are light elements, and that we should gravitate towards and open more to the light elements and fill ourselves up with the light as quickly and as thoroughly as possible, while we have an opportunity to do that in this body, in the dream body, in the astral body, in the causal body, in the lower mental body, in the mental body, the higher mental body, the etheric body, or the creative body, and the spiritual body, the radiant body. Always move towards more light. Remain in the light.